Welcome to another episode of the Thorn Room. It's your boy Dre.
My name is Mike, and our special guest today is Blake Bitton. Hey, clap. Thank you. All right, Blake. So, it's a honor having you on here. And I guess the first question I want to start with is, what was it like for Blake growing up? Childhood, area, parents.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Pasco.
Okay.
I'm not even sure really the area of Pasco, but down by the river, on A Street. If you're from Pasco, you probably know. Um, I grew up with both my parents. Both my parents were working. My dad was a farmer when I was younger, and then started doing business development. As I got a little bit older. My mom was a hairdresser. And I got to go to work with them a lot, which was really cool. I got to learn a lot from them. They both are really hard workers. But growing up was different for me, I think, than what I probably appear, to be.
Yeah.
It was struggling times for my parents a lot of the times, and school wasn't always the funnest for me. I was that little nerdy kid that didn't really seem nerdy. Probably just seemed kind of shy.
Yeah.
And I was really shy, almost to like a detriment to my parents' health or my health or whatever. I wanted to be attached to my parents at all times. um, but you know it was a good childhood. I don't have any
Okay.
complaints about it. It was, my parents never let us. I never knew. We grew up struggling.
Yeah.
But as you look back, then you definitely knew life was different. And, it was like sixth grade. My dad started a business, and our lives kind of really changed.
Okay.
And I think that opened up a lot of opportunities for myself and obviously my family. But my parents just pushed and pushed and pushed, in a good way, not in a bad way, just to make sure that we were educated,
Yeah.
so that we could have a life that they didn't have.
Yeah.
And I don't even think that it was necessarily about, college education necessarily, but just educated in whatever way we really wanted to be.
No.
I went to work with my mom when she was a hairdresser. I went to work with my dad when he was a farmer. Um, and just instilling in us that hard work was important.
Yeah.
They're some of the hardest working people that I know. I think everyone says that about their parents, but they're hard workers.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Okay. I will say one thing. Like, I know we're talking about it off camera, but I do know that about you from just being around you, how hardworking you are.
Uh-huh.
The amount of hours you put in. It's like when everybody else is home, you're working.
Yeah.
7 days a week,
Yep.
you're working.
Yep.
So I do see that. So obviously, we kind of can see where it comes from.
Right.
Your parents. So that's pretty awesome. But I what I want to know is what got you into wanting to start this business for Lip-ology? Like what was it that you were like, you know what, this is where I want to go? And was it your first business?
It was my first business that I ran, that I
Okay.
owned. Yep. It honestly, like I tell my patients, it kind of happened accidentally.
Okay.
I was doing emergency medicine at Cadlick, and I had some training in aesthetic medicine, cosmetic medicine, and I wanted to start ordering Botox so I could do it on my family and friends.
Yeah.
And because I worked in emergency medicine, I didn't have a place to have it sent. So I started having it sent to where my sister worked as a hairdresser. And then I can't really pinpoint exactly what happened, but pretty soon I started seeing patients and clients there, that they uh, referred to me. So like their
Okay.
clients. And then it just kind of took off.
Oh wow.
And then now we are where we are today.
Okay. So uh I guess like your parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you said your father started his own business. What was that like? Your father starting his own business.
So, as far as I can really remember, he always was his own employer,
Okay.
basically, as a farmer, and then uh, truck driving, and just kind of like that entrepreneurial spirit. Always like he was. There was always so many different things
Yeah.
happening that I can't really pinpoint exactly what my dad did. I
Oh.
mean, I could say he was a farmer, but was he really a farmer? Was he a trucker? Was he really a trucker? Right? He did all of those kind of at the same time. And then he purchased some land up on Road 68, kind of by the airport, Desert Plateau area. Yeah, I think that's when I was sixth, seventh grade,
Okay.
and developed that. And he knew a few people that kind of helped him out in the beginning. To my recollection, I think that's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
And he started building homes, and then
Mm.
became a land developer, and then just kept on buying businesses that were struggling and helping them turn over and become bigger
Wow.
and better.
Wow. So you got a good sense of like what it's like to start a business and what it's like, especially if you start ones that are struggling,
Right,
and teach them how to make it,
right.
or how to, what is it called? Flourish. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's really good.
He was always, I mean, the thing that I love about my dad, and also envy about him, maybe because I am not that way, is he can take anything and turn it into a positive, really. Like,
Okay.
he doesn't really stress about, okay, well, that's not working, and now I have to put money into it, or, oh, we're not going to have any money, to, that's fine, it will flip, it will turn, it will change, times always change. To me, if there's a downward month, I'm spiraling, thinking, uh, I can't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
I
So
halt everything.
he's always able to keep that composure and kind of
Yes.
see the good in any outcome.
Yeah. Which I think is a super important part of in all of our lives. But really, as an entrepreneur, knowing that that is just a sign that you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's literally it. It means nothing more than that's business.
Yeah. How did like, I guess, how did his business model or his outlook affect you in this business that you created? Because let me tell you, like, to have your first business, coming from a person who started a business, like, I've gone through like a lot of struggles, ups and downs, right? And it's like at times it's really good. Then it
Yeah.
goes time. It's like, so how did it affect you? And then also, like, how do you find a balance, between you running that business, your relationship, your family? Like, how do you?
So, my dad is somebody that you would say that anybody that knows him knows that he goes balls to the walls with anything. If
Okay.
you're like, oh, dad, let's do this science fair thing, let's make this volcano. Okay, you're going to now have a volcano that is inside of a semi truck, and you're going to have to bring it to the school. Yeah, exactly. It's nothing small. And my mom is very creative and artistic, but doesn't want to spend too much.
Okay.
And so I feel like I have that happy balance of knowing how you need to go big, but you better keep it at the cheapest you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess that's kind of how I live my life in that way too. But I have to be honest, coming into Lip-ology, I got really lucky. I don't know if it was the time frame that it was in, or the business model that I started, or if it was luck, or if I'm smart. I don't know. But I started small, and I didn't add anything extra expense wise if I didn't have to.
Yeah.
And I think that's really that's wise, but that's also I can't think of the word. Uh, I got lucky, right? It was forced into me to kind of work that way because I was still doing emergency medicine, and I couldn't commit all my time to Lip-ology. And so I didn't have the fire under my butt to say, like, find a building, find this, do all those
Yeah.
things. And that was a saving grace for me in a way, because I didn't have any extra cost when I didn't need it.
Okay.
And so I built up my clientele slowly, and each step that I've needed to grow, I was forced into grow. You know, I needed a bigger space, I needed more room, I needed more staff. And then I sat and thought about it and thought, okay, I need more staff. And I thought about it longer and longer and longer until I was forced.
Okay.
And I think having that excess income helped. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But a lot of people aren't that blessed to
Yeah.
do that,
Yeah.
you know? And I'm not saying I had any extra income behind me. It just, the business grew really well. And,
Yeah.
it, you know, it was that time. It was 2019, 2020, 21. It's weird to think that COVID was that long ago, but we really took off during COVID.
And that says a lot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That says a lot.
So was there like a specific instance in which you were like, okay, the time is now. Like, I gotta go all in.
Yeah. I was in a bad business relationship for when we first started, and it was either I need to go all in and take over the full business, or back totally out. And I went all in. I love doing what I do. I just love what I do. It helps the creative part of me while still being scientific enough. But I get this huge artistic outlet, this creative outlet through the spa, through the design, through all that, that I never knew that I even really liked. I'm, I wouldn't say I'm a really creative person before I started this. I had no idea. I didn't color, I didn't draw, I didn't do any of that. But this really helps me get that out. So once I realized that this was also my hobby and something I really loved and gave me a really good livelihood, I was like, I'm all in. I want to be all in, and I am not letting it go.
No, I love that you were able to find something that to bring that artistry out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about like the learning process.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was your learning process? You know, everybody kind of makes those mistakes when they first transition into something so big. And like, I just want to congratulate you on this
Oh, thank
place.
you.
It's amazing.
Thank you very much.
Um,
I think my learning was, sadly, trusting people.
okay.
I am that person that I trust everyone. And even when I shouldn't trust people, even when they've shown me I shouldn't trust them, I
Yeah.
trust them. I don't know if that's who I am innately, or I mean, I do have Asperger's, and so it's really hard for me to read people. I don't quite, unless somebody says, you know, I'm angry at you, I may not know, or vice versa. And I think that was hard for me, knowing or starting to see that everyone's intentions are not the same as mine.
Not everybody's genuine.
Exactly. Not everyone's going to make sure that my life is taken care of and I'm going to take care of their life, and all the way around, right? Like, this is, you know, people I come into contact with are my friends and family. And if somebody needs something, I'm going to help them. And that was hard to see, that
That
not
the
everyone's
energy
like that.
wasn't reciprocal.
Yes, right. And when we're on the same playing field, right? Like, I don't think, you know, some people aren't in life able to do that, reciprocate, but when we are on the same playing field, it should be that way. And that was
100%.
huge for me.
Yeah, I do want to circle back at some point to your how you said you have Asperger's. I want to circle back to
Okay.
that, but I do want to let you know that I know you said that, like, you know, you got lucky. Maybe you got lucky to start it, but a business doesn't get to where it goes unless whoever's behind it has the drive, the ambition to push it to where it needs to be. You know, and I feel like your parents instilled in you a work ethic. They instilled in you, like, for the type of person, because everybody who comes in contact, you make them feel welcome, you make them feel comfortable from the first time I met you. You know what I mean? It's like that just, and so I feel like all your patients see that in you, like, oh wow, like you care. You know, I mean, that's why it's been voted like the #1 spa in
Right.
what 4 or 5 straight years. You know,
3
so
years,
it's like,
yeah.
oh, see, so it's like it's like, and that's why, because they see the genuineness
Mm-hmm.
from you, but they also see that hard work, because hard work always shows. They see it in everything that you do, you know. So I do want you to know that it's
Well,
not just luck.
I
you know?
appreciate that. It, and to say that, so, you know, I'm pretty dedicated in everything I do. But I say, my favorite saying is I'm really lazy. And and I know it's hard to see, but I'm really lazy.
Hey, work smarter, not harder. Eh?
Yeah. Like if you went and looked at my bedroom, you'd be like, that's not the same person that lives in that bedroom that does the spa. And not that it's absolutely disgusting, but like I will leave clothes out, you know, like I'm
Yeah.
not gonna put stuff away. If I come home and I'm tired, the dishes can stay dirty, those type of things. So sometimes I even catch myself when I'm here super late at night or working really hard through a certain something that I even shock myself like you're doing this. What are you how are you doing it? Like what's going on? And I think you're probably right that it was my parents instilled into me that if you set yourself to a mind and there's other people that are depending on
Yeah.
you, that you better stick through because it's not always about you.
Yeah.
And that's really important.
Do you ever think that, like how you said, like, because I can't see you as lazy, right? Like from what I
Right.
see, I can't see it. Do you ever think that sometimes it's just you give so much of yourself into your business, you pour so much into it that when you're home, it's like, just don't want to do nothing now.
It's not
So
as important.
yeah, and that's not a lazy. It's just I just need to relax. Like I'm go 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 go, and now it's like let me calm down. You know?
I think so, right? Because when I was in college, my place was always clean. All those things were
Yeah.
always done, unless it was finals or something.
Yeah.
Um, so it very well could be, but like Franklin could be exhausted working many hours at the hospital, and he'll still come home and clean. And maybe that's his way of decompressing.
Yeah.
But for me, I it just it's not dependent on saving someone's life or making a job for somebody, so I don't really find it important. So maybe that really could be it, is that it's just not, I need that time to compress
Yeah.
or decompress. And I didn't really start feeling that way honestly until Gym Juice came along. It's like a whole new beast for me.
Yeah.
That I don't know. Like I feel like I know medicine really well. I know how to in my business mind, I grew up with Lip-ology.
Yeah.
Right? It was my first business. It grew with me. And Gym Juice is its own beast.
Yeah.
So, on the topic of Gym Juice, what do you feel was your original intent with Gym Juice? Like, where was your mind? What is the vision? Where would you like to go with Gym Juice?
My original intent was to have a drink for my patients at the very first Barbie party. And I don't really know why. Well, so that was my intent. But Franier and I were talking about it, I think right around that time or maybe before. And I can't quite remember back that far. But I really wanted to have a drink for Barbie party, the very first one in 2023. And it grew to be such a big thing, time-wise and doing it right, that it became expensive. And so I thought, okay, well, there's got to be a way to make money back on it, at least. And then it just kind of turned out to be something that was really cool.
Yeah.
And why the name Gym Juice?
Because I think in branding, if you don't spell it out, it doesn't go anywhere. And kind of the same like with Lip-ology and the same, like my version of branding is it's gotta be built for, the name and the brand has got to be built for the people who would have no idea what it was. And at least elude them into something else, right? A lot of times, or in the very beginning, people thought it was Lip-ology. They couldn't quite get that word.
Okay.
And so, but they at least assumed or knew this was something medical, or maybe with liposuction or something, that it pulled them into knowing that it was a med spa of some sort. And for Gym Juice, Gym is going to give the obvious that it's giving you some sort of energy, maybe.
Yeah.
or meant for those people that like to work out.
He said he wasn't creative. Look, he got creative.
Yeah,
Look at-
yeah. And I do love branding. Like,
Yeah.
if I could do just branding all day long, I'd probably be the happiest.
Okay. So I guess really quick so we can circle back, you know. Um how was it growing up in your time? Obviously being gay. How was that like growing up as a kid? Like, you know, what was it like? And I only say like so when I was in high school, right? There was this one kid that I sat next to in class and he was gay and he didn't have a lot of friends. He didn't really talk to anybody, and I felt bad for him. So I would always talk to him, you know. And I was like, "Man, why don't you come hang out with us at lunch?" He's like, he looked at me like kind of funny. I was like, "What's wrong?" He was like, "You know that I'm gay, right?" I was like, "So what's the problem? Like, I
Right.
don't understand it. Like, come hang out with us." He was like, "You don't care what people are gonna think." I'm like, "No, dude. Like, I see you by yourself all the time. You shouldn't come to school and have to be by
Right.
yourself because of what you choose to be, you
Right.
know, or even if you don't choose it and that's who you are, like you shouldn't, you know." So he came and hung out with us and, you know, he ended up meeting new people and ended up working out. But I just seen how hard it was for a person like that. So that's what I'm wondering, like, how was it for you growing up, like in school, you know, your parents, how did that go?
What year did you graduate?
2004.
Okay, so I graduated in 2003, and you know, there's like a really clear definition or delineation of times of how I think gay people felt in school and over in the early 2000s. And it was kind of cool that you could kind of see how that changed really rapidly. But for my time, it was hell.
Yeah.
It was hell. Mostly because, you know, being a shy kid, and maybe I was shy because of that. Having Asperger's, I couldn't really communicate that well. Um, my emotions, at least I was.
Yeah.
And also being smart, it was all that also separates you a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I went to public school off and on through high school, and went to private school so that I could get different classes. And I felt safer in private school. Oddly, it was a Christian school, but I still felt safer
Yeah.
because I wasn't really out. I knew I was gay, and other people suspected, but I wasn't really out.
Yeah.
But in public school, it was hell. You know, there wasn't a real like sense of community at all. Even there was other gay kids there, but we didn't talk to each other.
Yeah.
And maybe I just didn't talk to them because of my own issues too. But I feel like I blacked a lot of it out. Like I can't quite remember all of it because it was such a honestly traumatic time. I just posted not very long ago, and I don't post many things about being gay at all.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, that except me and my partner, but
Yeah.
but I mean about, you know, gay history, and Matthew Shepard died in man, I can't even remember now, but it had just come up on one of the anniversaries, and I remember laying on my parents' bed watching an ABC special about him being killed, and wondering what my life was going to be like, because then it was just thought to be so outrageously awkward and inappropriate and all of that. And then Will and Grace came out, and that for me was a life changer because it made me feel somewhat normal,
Yeah.
or not have to think about what was my life going to be like, because Will was an attorney,
Yeah.
and successful, and wasn't what you also saw on TV as this overly flamboyant drag queen type gay man,
Yeah.
which is fine in its own right, but just not how I felt inside. That's
Yeah.
not what I want or how I felt I was going to be. So to see that there was something like that was good. And then come around 2006, my sister graduated from Pasco High, and the prom king at that time was an openly gay guy. So just in 3 years,
Oh, wow.
society had changed so dramatically. My partner Franklin graduated in 2013, 10 years after I did, and I don't think he even can associate that it wasn't as even a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think it wasn't super easy for him, obviously, but it wasn't traumatic.
Yeah.
He had, I mean, everybody in his school was his friend.
Wow.
I wanted to circle back real quick. I know you mentioned that you knew that there was other gay individuals in school, but that you guys never had conversations, never associated. Why do you think that was? Do you think everybody was kind of just living in that fear or of like not wanting to be identified or singled out?
I think so. Like you would have thought that like my group of friends that I had at Pasco High, who I'm still really, she's my friend Cherie, she's still my very best friend all these years. And he would have associated at some point too, but they didn't. And I think it was the other gay guy that I'm referring to. I'm not even sure of his name, to be honest. Whatever, but it just, I don't know if he was so shy or if we were just so shy.
Yeah.
I know I was. I know, but that's also my personality as well, is to be super shy. So it really could have been a lot of my own fault. If I would have just been one of those people who didn't care what other people thought and would have been more forceful, maybe I could have been one of those people that shut that down more and sooner. But I think I'm not going to associate with anybody that doesn't associate to me, which sometimes makes me look like I'm not a very nice person, but it's all because I'm so shy.
Yeah. And to be honest, it happens all the time in
Yeah.
high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what's crazy though is that how you said in high school you were so like it wasn't a good time, right? Obviously you went through a lot of stuff in high school. Like I said, when I was in high school, I seen especially like the things I hated bullies.
Yeah.
I didn't like when people got picked on. I had an issue with it. I always spoke up for them because they couldn't speak up. I'm like, I'm gonna say something, even if that means at my own cost, but I'm gonna do it. So, how do you think that you still met? Because you're such a caring person. It's like most people that go through so much like I guess like things that can push you the wrong way, so many hard times. How do you still come out to be such a like caring person and still a good person? You know what I mean? Like, so,
Probably my family,
okay.
because I may have felt that way at school for those 6, 7 hours, but I never came home and felt any different at all. Not, it's, it, I left school and I no longer felt trapped, bullied, nothing. I mean, I may have came home and vented to my mom, or maybe I'm sure I did, and my mom shut it down. And it wasn't in this uplifting thing that you see like on Instagram where it was like, oh honey, like it's fine.
Yeah.
No, it was probably shut the hell up, grow up, pull up your panties, and let's go weed
Wow.
or something.
Yeah.
And she didn't mean that in a terrible way. She was
Yeah.
a wonderful mother, but it was teaching me, and as she said later on as I grew up, was saying, you're always going to have hardship.
Yeah.
That hardship doesn't define you and it doesn't define them. Because somebody's calling you a name doesn't mean that they're an evil person. It's what they're dealing with in their life that's different. Maybe they're gay.
Maybe they're just reflecting it upon you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I have a patient who married one of my bullies.
Oh, wow.
And I had known her for a little bit of time. And for some reason, when she came in one day, this was probably a year ago, I told her this, which I would have never really said that. And she said, he's different now. And in my mind, that made a wall come up. But her next words were, he was fighting his own demons and he no longer acts that way because he has now accepted his demons.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's what makes me care about people, is being that person that was, I guess, honestly demonized, right? Like
Yeah.
people didn't really, think much of me. It wasn't they were teasing me because, oh, he's the rich kid, or oh, he's whatever. They really thought of me as a terrible person. I don't view anybody that way. Like one of my downfall, I always say my toxic trait is that I will love you and you will hurt me and I'll love you still. Um, and I think that's maybe why, is because I know myself internally and I'm not who people thought I was. Therefore, people can't be bad.
Yeah. I guess I have a couple questions. One is, then how do you set boundaries?
I I don't.
Like,
Yep. And
that's not good.
that's terrible.
Yeah.
Because, and why that's so terrible is because I get myself in terrible trouble in my relationships. It has led to terrible things in my relationships. It's led to terrible things in a lot of aspects where you think, oh, I'm being kind, I'm doing these things. But when I'm being kind to person A, I'm hurting person B. And I
Yeah.
don't think you always grasp that, but that's something I'm working on now, is my boundaries.
No, I think that's deep, and I think that really speaks volumes to who you are as a person, because I feel like you always want to see the best in people, and you're always willing to give them that benefit of
Yep.
doubt, where other people have already been through so much trauma experiences. They got that barrier, they
Yeah.
got that brick wall, and they're like, I'm not letting anybody in,
Yep.
It,
Yep.
and nobody else is gonna hurt me.
You know,
And you're
it's-
already seeing bad in them.
it's
Yep.
crazy because it's like how you said about your dad. Your dad always sees the good, right? And you said, oh, like that's his mom. But if you think about it, that's kind of what you do in people.
Right.
It's like, oh, I know there's good in there, but I do think that boundaries are necessary.
Right.
Because boundaries are not for other people, they're for you.
Right.
To be like, I need this at a distance.
Yep.
So the other question I have, so for people that don't know, Asperger's, that's how you say it, right?
Yep.
So what is it, and like how does it affect you?
Yeah. So it's Asperger's is no longer really used because it's supposed to be offensive. To me, it's not offensive. It would be really hard. I mean, we shouldn't be so offended by so many things,
Right.
but so what it really is it is a type of high functioning autism. And so what it is for me is I'm ultra sensitive to like certain fabrics, certain things, certain stimuli, certain chewing, certain anything.
Okay.
So that would be like the negative side of it for me. The positive side is that I have a really photogenic memory.
Oh, wow.
And so I can read a book and I'll know that book within reason. If I,
Yeah.
um, sometimes the odd thing is I lose my keys daily, but I can picture them and know exactly where they are and go find them.
Wow.
I'll remember, somebody be like, okay, where did I put that? And if I was there, I'll be able to like think in my head and be like, okay, your credit card's laying underneath this area there. And because I'll remember that.
Wow.
But what it really is a type of autism that helps us, retain things in our brain better usually, or they can. I'm really good at math, kind of like Sheldon from Big Bang
Okay,
Theory.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, not thankfully. I wish I was as smart as him, but there's
Yeah.
different levels. Obviously, I didn't get the best level, but.
So what would you say has been your biggest struggle with autism? If any.
I was diagnosed late. I was actually an adult. I was 7. Nope, I was an adult. I think it was 21. I was in college. I don't know why I thought it was 17. 21. And my biggest struggle, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest struggle is honestly probably the sensitivity aspect of it, obviously. As a kid, not knowing what I had, and plus being back in the 80s and 90s, we didn't have a lot of choice, right? We had Kmart and JCPenney's to pick from.
Yeah.
And I need certain type of like I wear an undershirt all the time because I don't like the shirt rubbing across the top of my skin, and certain socks. Well, my parents didn't know that, so I was always agitated. I always felt frustrated because if my shirt is rubbing against me, or if the fabric is doing this, or somebody's chewing gum that's loud, or somebody's eating popcorn in a movie theater, I can't go to a movie theater because
Hey, I was
somebody's
chewing gum. Good thing I spit it
no,
out.
no, 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 no. And what's weird is that doesn't really bother me. It's in a quiet place where I'm supposed to be focusing on something else, and that weird noise can make me go really crazy, and then my mood switches, and I turn not very nice. And so, I think with the people that I mostly love, I can be a bitch because you're around them all the time and you know they're going to love you no matter what. So if somebody's chewing loud, I'll be like, do you have to chew like a horse? You know? Yeah.
So you said you were in college when you got diagnosed?
Yes, because so I think I was probably diagnosed in fourth or fifth grade, really, but I was misdiagnosed as autistic, but not really with like a high functioning autism, not a low functioning, just there's something there. And my mom told me a story years later, I think maybe after I got diagnosed, I told her about this youth, no, what are they called? Counselor at school. And I remember this lady. I remember her as this fabulous lady who was probably in her 50s, but she was probably younger than that, my mom said. She had this bob cut, always wore this pink Chanel suit, but it probably wasn't Chanel, but always had these beautiful nails. Like she just was fabulous in my mind. That told my mom, I think he has autism. And my mom thought nothing about it. How old are you in fifth grade? 10?
Probably like 10.
So my mom was 29. So 29-year-old mom probably didn't really think much about it.
Especially back then.
Yeah. Like, okay, what do you say? My kid's
Yeah.
retarded?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure what she thought.
Yeah.
But I was always decent in school, but I wasn't probably challenged enough, is what I'm guessing, because I wouldn't do anything in school. So I was failing. Like I fail. I don't know. So in theory, I think, I'm never going to hear the true story from my mom.
Yeah.
But I failed fifth grade, but then somehow I went to sixth grade. So I don't know how that really worked. This was the 90s. You could do whatever you wanted. And then after sixth grade, I just took off and excelled.
So did they, like, when you finally found out, did it give you like clarity or like okay, this makes a little more sense. I'm not crazy. Like, you know what I mean? So
And was there like an instance that made you want to get reevaluated to figure out what is it I'm experiencing?
Yeah, so I went to a therapist because I was feeling very stressed with school. I felt like I was not achieving what I wanted to fast enough. I wanted to get to where I was, but I was being held back by these constraints of having to take this class, and I just wanted to skip it all. And my professor said, "Well, maybe you should go talk to your counselor," which was not like a therapist, but like just a counselor. And she said, but she was actually also a therapist. And she said, "I think you should be evaluated for maybe Asperger's." And I looked at her kind of like, "Well, that's kind of weird. Why are you again telling me this, that I'm crazy?" And it really kind of bugged me. But then she sat down and she explained to me. She's like, "Look at your grades. Like, you're a 4.0 and you're finishing everything really soon. Your professors are giving you high marks and saying you don't need to take Calc 1, move on up, all these things." She said, "That doesn't happen. Let's maybe get you tested on it." And so I did, and they said,
Yeah, she's
I
like,
think you have it.
you're excelling, but you're telling me you're having a hard time.
Yes,
It's not
yeah.
adding up.
Yeah, exactly. And I was having a hard time meeting people and having friends in college, but for me, that was normal. I'm like, that's normal for me. I I have friends, but they're acquaintances. Because that emotional barrier was hard as a kid, right? Like kids want to feel wanted by their friends. I didn't want them, but I did, but I couldn't show that emotion. So she just made a lot of sense to me. It was like, okay, this is who you are, and I think you should learn to accept it. And then I just kept on reading on it. I'm like, oh my God, that's me. That's me. Oh yeah, my socks feel weird, and yeah. So it did really make me feel validated, I guess, which I don't know what. I mean, I don't know what.
Maybe it was just the sense of confusion the whole time
Yeah.
of like, I know there's something
Yeah.
going on with me. It's not in my head, right? And now to hear somebody validate that is just like a big stress relief.
It honestly was that I didn't know I really needed. Except as I think back about it, I'm like, okay, how come my sister always had all those friends, and how come that? I think it was more of the friends for me because everybody around me had all these friends, and I really didn't, and it didn't bother me, but it bothered me that it didn't bother me more than anything because I thought, why aren't these people? Why aren't the friends forcing to be my friends? Because I was thinking that's how it went, right? Like
Yeah.
people forced themselves into your life, and nobody was doing that to me. I'm like, what is so terrible about me? Then, what was really amazing is my mom really nurtured me those for several years in a way of like, oh, this is how, whatever it was. And then I was able to really kind of keep friends, socialize friends, understand what people needed from me more than anything. And I think that's why I don't have boundaries, is because I don't know what you need from me. So then I just keep giving and giving and giving and giving because I don't want to take, because I know that that would be an Asperger's person's normal response would be because we can't feel, or we can't read. Maybe that's the best way of these emotions. And so you typically just keep taking because I don't know that you need me, but you're offering this love and compassion, all these things. So you just keep taking, take and take and take. And to me, that would feel awful.
Yeah, it's how you say it's something you didn't know that you needed. It's crazy because so in church I just taught the youth, right? And I was teaching about forgiveness. And that's one of the things in me studying it. It's like how many people don't realize how much unforgiveness holds them back, right? And how heavy it weighs. And the moment they learn to forgive and they let things go, like the weight. So same thing with you, like you didn't realize how much you needed something, but
Yep.
the moment you get it, it's like, oh, okay, like I'm not crazy.
Yes.
You know, this is like normal for people with this, and it just gives you understanding or clarity, sense of clarity of what's
clarity
going on.
is the right word. Yep.
So
I think clarity. I think that's the perfect word. Is because we know who we are, but we don't know who everyone else is.
Yeah.
I think that's for everybody. That clarity really does feel so good.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever thought of it that way either, because it always seems so like, what? Why was that door open? Why did that make sense? Why did that click? And I think it was, you're right, clarity of like, not even accepting myself, but just now I can hone in on the things that I want to correct because I know that it's a valid part of me. I'm not just mean, or people don't just not like me. It's an aspect of who I am that I can correct.
Yeah.
Now I kind of, so we got two things here. We got, being gay in the early, what would you say, 90s?
I graduated in 2003.
2003, early 2000s, and autism, right? So we got two
Awesome
different.
pair.
Yeah.
I do have, I guess, two questions. One, when did you come out?
So I was kind of forced out of the closet in 1999
Okay.
by accident from one of my high school teachers. And there were some things going on that they needed to let my parents know. My parents were always amazing. Always did the best they could, did the best they knew. That was one area that they probably could have done better, but I would never say that to them because
Yeah.
I think people can only do what they do, and they still did amazing. But I think it was a different time, and so I kind of went back in the closet,
Oh.
meaning we just did not talk about it. I'm sure I wasn't really back in the closet,
Yeah.
but for me, I was mentally back in the closet, and because it just was a safer place to be. And then I came out when I was 18, like 2003. I was dating somebody, um, but it wasn't really coming out of the closet. My parents knew,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
grandparents knew.
Did you feel did you ever feel there was a point that mom already knew? I feel like you had a really close relationship with mom.
Yes, my mom said when I was 2 years old, she knew I was going to be a doctor or gay. Yep, and for sometimes when I'm kind of messing with my own feelings of like, okay, that can be kind of offensive. Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
But it's just mom's intuition. I was her oldest.
But I don't think she ever meant it in a negative way,
No,
like an optimistic way. Like
yeah,
you're gonna be one or
right,
the other.
right, yeah.
Both. Yeah,
Both,
both.
yeah, I could be both, yeah.
Yeah.
It, I tried to hone in on what she meant by that, and it just was like I was just slightly different. I was more kind. I was more gentle. I was took care of things. And my mom now says, well, like, okay, that could have been Asperger's, right? Just something different. But I was always more gentle and more kind. You know, like little old ladies, I was going to take care of. Little old men, I was going to take care of. My siblings, I was going to take care of. My mom was a hairdresser when I was 8 years old, and I would go to work with her in the summer. I'm not sure why. Probably because I didn't want to stay home messing with my siblings.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I would, at 8 years old, restock everything, take care of it, make sure everybody was taken care of. I guess I'm just more of a gentle soul.
I was gonna ask the other question that I had was, so you growing up with Asperger's and you with the struggles that you had, you know, in high school and everything you went through, like how did these things like affect you in your relationships for like friends, your relationships with your partner, like because I know like I had a friend who he was going through a lot of things at home, and his way to do it, he always like was a class clown, like always trying to make everybody laugh because he was so like he was really like hurting inside, but if I make other people laugh. I have another friend who he he used to, well, he's not like a really friend but it's acquaintance, you know, but he used to always have something to say about everybody, thinking it was joking, but something to say about, I'm like, dude, like sometimes you go a little too far, dude, calm down, you know. So it's like, did it have any sort of like effect on you, you know, in any of those relationships? Because I feel like, you know, it can either hold you back, so you find somebody, you have a relationship but you're like or you say things you shouldn't say, or you know what I mean, like.
Yeah, you know me long enough. I'd probably say things I shouldn't say because I do think they're funny. But it's really for me. I really do think they're funny.
Yeah.
I think I'm an outgoing person when I'm around the people I know. Relationship wise, I find myself really happily bonded to people anymore, to where as a child I didn't really find myself that way. Like to my parents, my grandparents, my cousins, loved them, but it was more of an association thing. I was always by them. I knew them. I felt safe.
It's good.
For me now, I feel close to people not just by natural occurrence anymore, which I feel safe. I feel better with because I know I'm choosing people that are better for me. In my relationships, it does affect me because I'm a very literal person. And if I say, you're hurting my feelings, or I like that, or whatever, let's just say you're hurting my feelings. That's the easiest one to compare to,
Yeah.
I think. And I don't feel like I'm being heard. It's not a good thing, because to me, I feel I give so much, and I'm such a literal person that you're knowing everyone knows what I'm thinking at all times. That if you can't respect that for me, then I can't respect you. Because if I'm giving 150 you can at least give me 100. And if you tell me you're upset, I'm going to correct that. If you can't do that for me, then get out. So maybe those are boundaries that I've kind of perfected over the time. But also in a relationship, it can make me kind of mean because I just am so little, or I viewed as mean. I don't think I ever can be mean, but just, you know, I tell people, oh, I don't like that, or that's not nice, or that's ugly, or no, you can't put that in my house, or
Yeah.
I don't have that type of boundary either, to where I can understand that other people's opinions matter.
See, and that has to be tough because, you know, being in a relationship, there's times where what comes up here shouldn't come here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes you have to learn, like, it's not, I heard this thing, it said, don't say the first thing you say or the first thing you think. Don't say the second thing you
Yep.
think. Say the third thing.
Yep.
Because a lot of times it's like you're angry, and it's like, okay, now I'm a little more calm. Now I can speak, right? But if you're saying, I mean, that got to be tough for not only for you because you don't, I feel like when people know you, you don't mean everything like, you're not saying it in a bad way, right?
No.
It just comes to your mind, oh, I'm going to say it. Or it's a joke, I'm going to say it. But it's like in a relationship, I feel it's a little like that got to be difficult to navigate because there's times it's like, you know, I know your partner knows that about you, but it doesn't make it easier,
Right.
right? It's like, oh, I'm trying this on today. Does this make me look fat? Yes.
Yes.
It's like, what? Like, you know, when they should have been like, no, but try something else on. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, so that has to be like a struggle, you know?
It is a struggle, but with Franklin, there's so many positive things about him.
Yeah.
But one of the really good positive things is that he knows that about me, and he doesn't get offended.
Good.
And the discussion I had was, do you want me to tell the truth all the time, or do you want me to lie all the time?
Yeah. That's
Because
good.
there's one or the other. And or lie some of the time, right? Because if you say, does this make me look fat? And I say no, I'm gonna just always say no, because that's the appropriate thing to say. But that's not the truth, and sometimes you might look fat,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or whatever. And he's like, no, always tell me. And I can literally tell him anything about that kind of stuff, and
You don't take it personally.
no. For the very first time when he said, do you like this? And I said, no, that's really ugly. He went and changed and then said, okay, let's go.
Oh, wow.
I was like, wow, that's, I mean, I guess he just really cares what he looks like too,
Yeah.
you know, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But any other time that I've ever told anybody that, even my mom, they're slightly offended.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't have an understanding of people that are diagnosed with different things.
Right.
I work with a lot of youth that have a lot of diagnoses, and they are very explicit in what they say.
Yep.
They are to the point, or say some outlandish
Yes.
things, right? And the other kids are always like, "Why do you let them say that?" Or "Why do you?" And I was like, "Well, because they're different.
Right.
They're different,
Right.
and it's not that I want to treat them different. It's that I understand."
Right. And the truth is the truth. And if it's not harming anybody intentionally, it's still the truth. And even if it isn't, but you know, my mom didn't teach us outrightly, right, in this way, but she always, intent matters, right? If you are intending to hurt somebody, that's one thing. If you're intending to love somebody and care for them, that's another thing. Doing things accidentally is also one thing, but there's still repercussions.
Right.
The intent really, really does matter.
Yes. And that's where I'm like, some people I can correct them like that, and with other people it's like we have to revisit it and
Yes.
revisit it and revisit it, and they're like, "How come you're so patient?" And I was like, "Well, they need that extra
Yeah.
patience."
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. It was a good conversation. I don't want to, you know, we're about that time, but it was a really good conversation. I feel like we keep it going. But before we get out of here, what is a message that you would like to leave to younger people, whether they're trying to start a business, whether they're struggling with some sort of disorder, you know, whether they're trying to come out, whatever it might be, what is a message that you would like to give to them?
That's a good one. I haven't ever really thought of it in that way or in this way before, but probably because I haven't ever led up by this type of discussion or thinking about um, my life. Um, is that everyone's life sucks at one point, and everyone's life is really awesome at other points. Um, but it's what you make of both of those that is going to make you who you are. And I know that that's kind of an oversaid statement, right? Life is what you make it. Life is what you make it, and it is for some aspects, right? There's some luck and there's some not good luck for some, but if you don't let the things that are meant to hurt you jade you, and you don't let the things that are supposed to uplift you make you have a big head, you're going to become a really cool person.
Well, yeah.
Because you can have all the cool things in the world and still be a really not fun person to hang around. You might have this huge house, this huge car, all these boats, money, whatever. No one wants to spend time with you if you aren't the right person. I think the the thing that I really subconsciously hold in my mind is I'm as cool as somebody wants me to be, and I'm as stupid and annoying as somebody wants me to be. And that really equals out to being zero. You know, we're all from the same petri dish. We're all from the same, same thing, same creator.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand that, then you got nothing. So focus on who you want to be, learn from every aspect that you can of life, and enjoy the failures as much as you enjoy the wins.
Beautifully said.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I do tell you one thing, like everything you said just matches you because I mean, we've hung out and you're that person. It doesn't you don't treat people based on, their background or where
Right.
they come from. You never treated me differently as always since I met you. You always been the coolest person.
Well,
So
thank you.
Hey, and as my students would say, clock it.
That's funny.
good.
Style, style.